factoring in the level of community frustration and the fact that you probably won't get a third go at this, that if it does get away again, the state won't tolerate a third lockdown, so there really is pressure to make this one count, as it were?
Lundy, I think that in trying to come to... Look, I'm happy to be completely frank with you. These are some of the most difficult decisions that I've ever made in 20 years in public life. And I've been blessed to have lots of different jobs, lots of different roles to play. These are really challenging decisions to make because the tolerance for getting it wrong is incredibly low. And what that means is that I will not do this faster than the science tells me to, because there's too much at stake. And that's not to say that being in lockdown doesn't have its own cost, doesn't have its own sense of pain and challenge. I get that, I understand that. None of these decisions are made lightly. But my sense of where Victorians are at, frustrated, yes. Not particularly pleased to find ourselves confronting the reality that we confront. But people want all that they have given to count for something. And it will count for precisely nothing if we open up too much too soon. That's just a fact. Now, whether people agree with that or not, the responsibility I have is to do this in a safe and steady way. And that is exactly what I will do. And whether it be popular or not, that's not the issue today or for the foreseeable future. It's about doing this right. And people can have different views. That's a healthy thing. That's perfectly fine. But I don't get the luxury of doing what might be popular. The task that our team has is to do this properly and to make sure that after a gradual, steady and safe easing of these rules, we can find a normal that we can lock in for months and months and not be bouncing in and out of restrictions, because that just does no one any good. On the issue of contact tracing, I would just say this: you've got to make sure that it's a fair fight. Like, no contact tracing team anywhere will be able to defend against 600, 700, 800 cases while the place remains open. You just couldn't do that. It's beyond anyone. You can't do it. That's why so many countries around the world stop contact tracing at 50 cases a day. So it's got to be a fair fight as well. And I'm confident that we've got the systems and processes in place to actively suppress, but you've got to get the numbers to a low level first. Otherwise, you're really asking people to do something that as you ask, cannot be done.
Would it be fair to say this will be more conservative easing out than last time?
Look, I don't think you can compare it. A fair question, but I have thought about that issue many times, for hours. And I don't think you can compare it because the differences between the first and the second wave are so stark in terms of where the virus is, how it's transmitting, how much community transmission there is, the interplay between large households and high-risk workplaces. All of those things have to be factored in, and I think it makes it unique in some ways. That's why we're going to try and give people on Sunday a traffic light system, so a series of phases. We'll provide some dates where we can. There will be other things that are so far off, and again, I hope that, I think we all do appreciate that a week is a long time in this thing, a day is a long time in this thing. So even a month or two is a very long period of time when it comes to fighting this battle. So we'll provide as much detail, as much certainty of things that we're going to do, as well as a picture of things we hope to do based on the case numbers as they present over time. So that's what Sunday will be about.
Premier, you've said you want to be frank with us.
I'll certainly try every day to be frank as frank as I can.
113 cases today. The reality is that means that the likelihood of coming out of stage 4 or in some shape or form next weekend, as some people believe may happen, isn't going to happen. Can you I guess, be frank with us about that?
Well, I'm trying to be as frank as I can.
Given the numbers are so high.
Yeah, the time to announce what things look like in the weeks and months ahead is not today, because the work is not finished. And it can't be finished because you have to wait to get the most contemporary data. For instance, it's only a couple of days ago we had 70 cases. And you might well have, said, okay, well, let's make a series of decisions based on that being the peak. Well, 2 days later, we haven't got 70 cases, we've got 113 cases. So I know it's frustrating, and I know that because all that work is going on, there is a legitimate question, well, why can't you announce everything today? And the answer is because it isn't ready, and it doesn't mean anywhere near as much as it will mean, or be as certain as it will be on Sunday, because there is a program of work and that work isn't finished.
I guess I'm not